Präsens, Perfekt, Präteritum, Plusquamperfekt, Futur I und Futur II. Weißt ihr, was sind die? Genau, die sind die verschiedenen Zeitformen in der deutschen Sprache. These are the various tenses in the German language. Ich, Monique, grüße euch ganz herzlich auf meinem Kanal Indo-German Vibes mit noch einem schönen Video über das Thema die Zeitformen in der deutschen Sprache. In today's video, I'll be giving you an overview about all these tenses in German. At first, let's try to understand what the word die Zeitformen means. Zeitformen are the tenses in the German language, and they tell us about at what time any particular activity is or was carried out or will be carried out. Es gibt 6 Zeitformen in der deutschen Sprache. So here we can see all the 6 tenses in the German language on a timeline. So starting with now oder jetzt, jetzt oder heute, today, that is das Präsens, das Präsens. Das Präsens beschreibt, was jetzt passiert. The present tense tells us about what is going on now or maybe today. A few examples of the present tense in German are Toni spielt im Garten. Toni spielt im Garten. Die Frau backt einen Kuchen. Die Frau backt einen Kuchen. Wir lernen Deutsch. Wir lernen Deutsch. For expressing something which has happened in the past, we have 3 tenses in the German language for that. Wenn wir über die Vergangenheit sprechen möchten, dann können wir eine von diesen 3 Zeitformen benutzen. Und die sind das Perfekt, das Perfekt, das Präteritum und das Plusquamperfekt, das Plusquamperfekt. In which circumstances we use each of them, we'll be discussing it later in the video. Wenn wir über die Zukunft sprechen möchten, dann können wir ein von diesen 2 Zeitformen benutzen. Und die sind Futur I und das Futur II. So when we want to talk about something which is going to happen in the future, we can use these 2 tenses. As already mentioned, there are 3 tenses for expressing past events in German. That is das Perfekt, das Präteritum und das Plusquamperfekt. At first, let's understand the first 2 tenses, that is das Perfekt and das Präteritum. So both of these tenses, they can be used to express past events. It's a person's choice in which tense one wants to form a sentence in the past tense. Either you can use das Perfekt, which is also called the present perfect tense in English, or you can use das Präteritum, which is just as same as the simple past tense in English. So if you want to make a sentence with perfect or you want to make the sentence with das Präteritum, both of the sentences are correct. Even though both of the tenses can be used to make sentences for the past, but there are few points to be kept in mind too. So the first thing is, that is das Perfekt. It's mostly used in the everyday spoken language, in the day-to-day language. So if you meet someone on the streets or in the market, most probably he or she will be using das Perfekt to express what he or she has done in the recent past or in the past. Das Perfekt wird meistens in der gesprochenen Sprache benutzt. Das bedeutet, das Perfekt wird im Alltag benutzt, in the everyday life. Das Präteritum wird häufig benutzt in der geschriebenen Sprache. On the other hand, this Präteritum is used mostly in writing texts. So, for example, in the newspapers, in the magazines, in the news, or to write reports. Even though a person is free to use das Perfekt oder das Präteritum, it's quite unusual to use das Präteritum in the spoken language. So it's an unwritten rule for the everyday spoken language. You use perfect, and for writing texts like reports or for newspaper articles or for writing stories, there you use das Präteritum. If I meet one of my friend and I ask what she ate yesterday, the most probable answer will be in perfect. She'll most probably say, ich habe gestern eine Suppe gegessen. So it'll be quite unusual if she answers me in das Präteritum, that is, ich aß gestern eine Suppe. So both of the sentences are correct, but for the spoken language, you mostly use das Perfekt. Now, coming on to the second difference in the use of perfect in Präteritum, that is the formation oder die Bildung. How is the perfect tense built? So it is built with the help of two verbs. With the help of two verbs. Whereas in building the Präteritum, we use just one verb. So that is a big difference. So here we use two verbs, two different verbs, and here we use just one verb. Let's see how these two verbs come together to form Perfekt. Das Perfekt besteht aus ein Hilfsverb, das ist haben oder sein, plus Partizip 2 des Fullverbs. So the perfect is made up of a helping verb, one helping verb, either haben or sein, plus Partizip 2 from the main verb. Partizip 2 is the past participle in English. So here Partizip 2 is mostly built by adding ge prefix in front of the verb. So gegessen, gelaufen, gegangen, so and so on. So perfect is built haben oder sein plus Partizip 2 am Ende. Ja, das ist sehr wichtig. While making a sentence in perfect tense, we have the helping verb haben or sein at the second position and the Partizip 2 at the end of the sentence. Das Präteritum besteht aus nur einem Verb. Und diesem Verb wird im Präteritum Form gesetzt. Richtig? So, das Präteritum, it is built by using just one verb which is used in its past form in the sentence. And here the verb also always comes on the second position in the sentence. Now let's see a few examples of das Perfekt und das Präteritum. Ich habe das Buch gekauft. Ich habe das Buch gekauft. Here the Hilfsverb haben, it has been conjugated according to the pronoun ich. So ich habe, so Hilfsverb at the second position and Partizip 2 which you can identify from the prefix ge. Ge, so ge plus the verb gekauft. That is the Partizip 2. So Partizip 2 at the end. So both of these together, they form das Perfekt. Ich habe das Buch gekauft. So if I make the same sentence with the help of das Präteritum, it would look like ich kaufte das Buch. Ich kaufte das Buch. Instead of using two verbs, I'm just using one verb in its Präteritum form, in its past form. Ich kaufte das Buch. Second example, er ist nach Hause gegangen. Er ist nach Hause gegangen. So here the Hilfsverb sein, it has been conjugated according to the personal pronoun er, that is the third person singular. Er ist nach Hause gegangen. So here again Partizip 2 at the end. And you can recognize it from the prefix ge, gegangen, Partizip 2. So if I make the same sentence in Präteritum, I'll be using just one verb, that is the verb gehen in its Präteritum form. Right? So gehen in the perfect form ist gegangen and in Präteritum form ging. Er ging nach Hause. Er ging nach Hause. The third example, die Kinder haben die Hausaufgaben gemacht. Die Kinder haben die Hausaufgaben gemacht. So here, Hilfsverb haben, conjugated according to plural, die Kinder. So, die Kinder haben die Hausaufgaben gemacht. Partizip 2 am Ende. So, this is the Partizip 2 from the verb machen. Machen. Machen, perfekt, habe gemacht. Richtig? Again, if I make the same sentence in Präteritum, die Kinder machten die Hausaufgaben. Die Kinder machten die Hausaufgaben. Das Plusquamperfekt is another form of expressing the past events. But in Plusquamperfekt, there is something special. With the help of Plusquamperfekt, you express two different activities which have been done at different times in the past. For example, if I say, I ate my breakfast and then I went to my work. So there's difference in the time in both of my activities. So at first I ate my breakfast and then afterwards I went to my work. So this situation is expressed better with the help of das Plusquamperfekt in the German language. So how would we say this in German? We would say, nachdem ich gefrühstückt hatte, ging ich zur Arbeit. That is, after I had my breakfast, I went to work. So here, nachdem ich gefrühstückt hatte, so this event has happened earlier, even in the past. So even if I'm in the past tense, this event, that is having the breakfast, that happened earlier as compared to going to the work. So this happened later. So this is expressed with the help of this Plusquamperfekt, nachdem ich gefrühstückt hatte. So this combination of two verbs, where one is in Partizip 2, and the other one is in Präteritum, So this combination, this is called Plusquamperfekt. This gefrühstückt hatte, das ist das Plusquamperfekt. And in the adjoining sentence, ging ich zur Arbeit, here the verb gehen is in Präteritum. So this situation where one activity has been done earlier in comparison to the other, the first one, the earlier one, always remains in Plusquamperfekt. So let's see another example. Nachdem sie eingekauft hatte, kochte sie das Mittagsessen. So that means after she had done her groceries, she cooked the lunch. In this event, which has already happened in the past, the activity, that is shopping for the groceries, that has happened earlier. And after she did the groceries, she cooked the lunch. So this happened later on. And here also we can see this combination of Partizip 2, Partizip 2, Partizip 2 von einkaufen und hatte, Präteritum from haben. This combination is called Plusquamperfekt. Right? So again, Plusquamperfekt. And this kochte, that is Präteritum form von kochen. Right? So that is all about Plusquamperfekt. Now let's discuss the tense das Futur I. Das Futur I und das Futur II werden benutzt, wenn wir über die Zukunft sprechen möchten. So when we want to talk about something which is going to happen in the future, we use either Futur I or Futur II. So when we use Futur I, it is used mostly to make predictions, the Voraussagen, the Voraussagen. Or it can be used to make assumptions, Vermutungen. So another thing, it is also used to make promises or plans for the future, Versprechen oder Pläne für Zukunft zu machen. Die Bildung des Futur I. Das Futur I is built with the help of two verbs. The first one is das Hilfsverb or the helping verb werden, which is conjugated according to the subject in the sentence and comes at the second position in the sentence. In addition to that, there's second verb which is called the main verb oder das Vollverb, which comes in its Grundform or infinitive form at the end of the sentence. Let's understand this better with the help of few examples. The first one is Morgen wird es regnen. In this sentence, we can see the verb werden. It's coming at the second position and it has been conjugated according to the subject of the sentence es, and the second verb regnen, that is the main verb, which is coming in its Grundform or the infinitive form at the end of the sentence. So the second example, nächste Woche werden wir nach Italien fliegen. So here too you can see the verb werden at the second position, conjugated according to the subject wir, and the main verb fliegen, which is coming at the end of the sentence in its Grundform or infinitive form. Third example, ich werde dir beim Umzug helfen. So werde at second position and main verb helfen at the end of sentence. Now coming on to Futur II. Futur II is a rarely used tense in the German language. It is used to express actions that will finish before a certain time in the future. For example, if I'm flying to London next morning, then I can say by tomorrow evening I will have arrived in London. Now let's see some more examples. In 2 Jahren werde ich endlich meine Ausbildung beendet haben. So here we can see the verb werden plus Partizip 2 from enden, beendet, and Hilfsverb haben has been used to make a sentence. Next example. Nächsten Monat werden wir ein Auto gekauft haben. So here too we can see the sentence has been formed with the help of verbs werden, Partizip 2 vom Verb kaufen, gekauft und Hilfsverb haben am Ende. So that was everything about the overview of all the 6 tenses in the German language. In my upcoming videos, I'll be making detailed videos on each of them so that you can understand them better. So till then, tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal.